Welcome back to the My Inner Struggle podcast. I'm your host, Laura Ferry. This is episode 75, which means we've shared 75 conversations about growth, struggle, and everything in between. I'm so grateful that you're here with me. As I was reflecting on this milestone and the season we're stepping into, I pulled 3 cards this morning: the Wheel, the Empress, and the King of Cups. Together, they paint such a powerful picture for this movement. The Wheel reminds us that a new cycle is beginning. The Empress asks us to step into it with nurturing energy and creative flow. And the King of Cups brings in the wisdom of emotional balance, the steadiness to hold ourselves with compassion while life is still shifting around us. It's such a fitting message for September. The kids are going back to school, routines are shifting, and the air itself seems to carry change. For many of us, August can feel heavy and burnt out, but September always feels like a breath of fresh air, almost like another chance to reset, to begin again without all the pressure of January resolutions. So today I want to talk about the season that we're in, because the message is clear. Trust the season you're in. Nurture what you're creating. Lead yourself with compassion. Change is moving in your favor, and you're being asked to meet it with both softness and strength. So when you're ready, grab a cup of coffee and come get uncomfortable with me. I am so happy you're here. Episode 75. I don't know how you've been feeling lately. I didn't want summer to end, but I am so ready for a new season. I felt like I was kind of in purgatory lately, to be honest, and not necessarily in a bad way, but not in a good way either. I'm ready to start these new routines and not able to yet because I still have these summer routines that are happening. And I like to compare it to like cleaning the house when there's other people around. You can never clean your house as good as you can when you've got the whole house to yourself, right? When you can, and you moms, you know what I'm talking about. You run from room to room, picking out all the different, areas, like wiping down the counters, and then you pick up the broom, then you run upstairs and you do that. Well, I feel like I need an empty house to clean the same way that I need a morning routine without a lot of distraction around me. So it's like that. Yeah. But for now, while I wait, I plan. And by the time you watch this episode, the kids are finally back in school. I think our district is like the last one to go back. But I've been in this interesting season, and we're starting a new season, which is what I'm really, really looking forward to. And what I mentioned in the intro, the cards and the new cycle beginning, and everything is pointing to that: a new energy, a new vibe to live by, different things, and change it up. And I'm really excited about that. I love the fresh feeling of fall and the change of the season. Obviously, the leaves changing is beautiful, and it just makes you feel comforted inside. And it makes me feel like all things are possible. We're ready to cultivate something new. And much like the trees, right, we'll shed our leaves and move into a hibernation season, and then we renew again in spring. So I feel like I'm ready to cultivate something new, and it's been brewing for a while. I love how we change our house, right? We might like clean seasonally and decorate for a new holiday or whatever it is. I have bins floating around my house. Everybody was desperate to get out the fall and Halloween decorations, put out a few pumpkins, and then it fizzed out. So this weekend, I'm really excited. I'm kind of secretly excited, I should say, that when the kids leave to go to their dad's house, I am going to deep clean and decorate. And I'm really excited about that. You can tell I'm 43, that's for sure right now. Music up, windows open, and nobody in my way. And I love that, especially for a good Saturday cleaning session. And when we go into September and this fall, it's still not the same as that January reboot. And I've talked about that before, how like I'm not a big like New Year, new resolution me in that time. It's cold and it just doesn't feel like that fresh kind of feeling. I don't mind the cold at all, but it's not very motivating to me, I guess. And sometimes I think that, sure, turning the page on the calendar can be exciting, but there's something also a little sad about New Year's Eve for whatever reason. And it's reflective. Maybe it's because we're already in that hibernation mode. I mean, here in the Northeast, it's cold. Depending on where you are, it might not be the same. There's a little bit of sadness to it. And I think it's partly because of that maybe missing people part, or maybe the things that we didn't accomplish, or we're judging ourselves on where we should be or something like that. But there's like a tinge of sadness when it happens at that time. And quite honestly, to tell you the truth, I have considered my birthday to be sort of like my new year for quite a long time. And it's in November. So it's, about 2 months, or I'm sorry, a month shy of the new year. But last year it happened to be Thanksgiving and it was my birthday and I was alone and I made myself dinner, not turkey because I'm not a huge fan. And I worked on my vision board. I created my new vision board for the new year, and maybe that'll be my new birthday tradition. I don't think I had ever done that before, but it was kind of special and it gave me some clarity and time and space to think about the things that I want in my life and that I'm trying to manifest and grow through. September also carries this natural momentum, the new school year, new routines, and it just flows organically. Cooler weather makes us want to get back on track so that we're where we want to be. The shift in the morning when school starts, I am like anxiously awaiting for this to happen, but I'm also equally nervous that everybody get up and out on time. But I'm really more excited about my own routine. Maybe the silence after the rush is a chance for clarity. The fact that I won't have kids running around while I'm trying to record a podcast, perhaps, as I try to do things in between clients or tiny spaces where I have the house to myself. It's not always possible in the summertime because everybody's schedule is all over the place. And I know one thing for sure is recording this podcast will be that much less anxiety ridden when I can do it when I know that they're at school or something like that. And I don't have to run around room to room letting everyone know that I'm recording so that they can either be quiet or have themselves be heard on the podcast. So I love that September invites us to look back at what we've done this year and gives us 4 more months to move the needle forward. It's kind of a really good look at yourself, look at your goals, look at your vision board if you have one. If you don't have one, follow me on Facebook so that you can come join us for the next vision board class. They're always free. And think about what we would change, because change is inevitable. We change more often than we stay the same. And so the more you are willing to embrace that change, the quicker you'll move through those things. Just be open and have a vision for what you want for yourself. What would you choose? I have a question for you, and use this as a journal prompt if you'd like to. And if you would love to share that with me, I would love to hear from you. I love hearing from you guys when I ask a question, or if you're going through something or just want some advice. What would you choose to reboot if you gave yourself permission to start fresh right now? Right now, if you woke up tomorrow and said, okay, that's it. This is it. This is changing. I'm tired of my bullshit. Let's go. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be a small thing. There's many things that we do that are minute that make a big difference overall, or at the end of the day, at the end of the month, at the end of the year. So what would you choose to reboot if you gave yourself permission to start fresh right now? Let's talk a little bit about trusting the season that you're in. If we notice like the trees, right? We can say the trees don't rush to change the leaves. They trust the season. Whatever is nurturing them. If we've had a dry season, the leaves tend to turn brittle and turn faster, quicker, right? So when we're not watering our plants, same thing. They trust the season. They just guide. Nature is going to tell them what they need to do in the moment. And they're going to do that without resisting. They're not going to resist. They're just trusting the season. So I think about that more as I don't even want to go there yet. Let me finish my next point. Not every season is about doing. Some are about being, resting, and preparing. And it's okay if your season doesn't look like somebody else's. When we compare ourselves to the people next to us, that takes the joy out of everything when we're comparing ourselves to the person next to us, to the business owner next to us, to what they're doing with their videos or whatever it is. The mom with toddlers may be in a survival season right now. A business owner may be in a growth and hustle season, and sometimes we have to be, and both are valid. And so that's like one thing I really love about this podcast and everything I do is that it's kind of that point where business meets personal growth, because It all is intertwined. I talked the last few episodes about my adventure in July. I went backpacking for 3 days with 4 strangers that I had never met before. And there's been a lot of processing ever since. And so that was at the end of July. And in August, I think I was just being, quite honestly. I had such an experience. I was just being present a lot of August. My oldest was still home. She's since gone back to college. And it changes the whole dynamic of the house. And I was kind of dreading that, to be honest. I love having her around. And you can tell I barely did any videos for my business. I just didn't have it in me. I don't know if it was I started thinking, I'm like, am I not feeling confident? I'm not feeling myself. I wasn't really feeling at home in myself to do it. I had so many other things going on. I hired 3 additional contractors in my business as we're growing and taking that next leap to be able to serve more businesses, because it can't all rely on just me. And that in itself took a lot of bandwidth, planning, collaboration, and confidence. And so I poured myself into that in August, and it truly was a season of being. And so I just kind of sat with that, being present in that time, and I didn't have much left in me for additional camera time. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm not beating myself up over it. Every day I'd see that the task or whatever on my list, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, not today. No, I'm not feeling it, because I'm not going to jump on somewhere and fake it, because that's just not who I am. I'm not capable of faking things like that. So I want you to remember, you don't have to bloom year round to still be worthy. Some seasons are for planting, others are for harvesting, and some are just for resting in the soil. And that is so fucking okay. It's not even funny. So stop judging yourself. However, if you've been sitting in the soil for a long time, it's time to give yourself a little nudge. We talked about that this week on the Self-Love Club too. So I want you to ask yourself, what is this season trying to teach me? If you're feeling something, if you're not feeling confident, or if you're just feeling stuck, what is this trying to teach me? Where am I supposed to go? What do I do next? What is my action, right? Because it's all about the action, literally. Because we can talk and talk and talk and talk, and until we start taking action, nothing changes. Well, maybe we need to journal it out. Maybe we need to start giving ourselves some peace. Maybe we need to take a walk. And that was one of the things that I started doing to get myself back out of that, because since I had been back from my backpacking trip, I had only gone on a couple walks, and I had been doing that for months. And I got back out there last week and it felt amazing. I was like, okay, this is what it is. And fall is my favorite. So I definitely want to be out there every moment possible. What is the season trying to teach you? Let's talk a little bit about the softness and compassion and patience and giving yourself grace, but not too much, right? That's what we were talking about in the Self-Love Club. One of the journal questions that I had asked before we did our guided meditation was about are you giving yourself enough softness and grace? And one of my members was like, I think I give myself too much of that. I need a push. I need to put out that. I'm always forgiving myself, which is kind of the opposite. What if a lot of us are beating ourselves up? But I think that she's at such a level in her own personal growth that that's where she is. She's like being lenient with herself. But now it's time to jump back in the game and keep moving. Resilience, strength, discipline, staying true to your commitments, because if it's commitment to you, it's important. And both are vital in real change, really. Having resilience for yourself and softness for yourself. Too much softness leaves you stuck in a comfortable place. Too much strength leaves us burnt out, which is why we need to find that balance. As a mom, as an entrepreneur, I've learned I can't white knuckle my way through every change, I should say. I need the softness and rest and forgiveness and joy. Think about it like a tree. A tree has these soft leaves at the end, but then these deep, deep roots and the trunk holding it together in the middle. We require all of those parts too. The world tells us to push harder, but sometimes the strongest thing that you can do is slow down. And that is like one thing that when I work with mostly the business owners, because and individuals too, but because you have to take slow and calculated movements forward, right? So instead of scrambling with your payables each week and just jumping in and knocking off like the priority list, when you go in with a plan, if you slow down and go in with a plan, you will get further faster because you are intentionally doing things, not out of chaos and reactivity, because you don't want that. You want to do things with intention. I want you to remind you and myself too, that growth doesn't always mean new. Sometimes it means that we're tending to what's already been in the process. We did a lot in the last few weeks of the Self-Love Club talking about seeds of change. And instead of picking 10 new goals or, working on those 10 new goals, we take one habit that we already either maybe not have established, but are dipping our toe in the water at, right? Speaking of water, one of them was to drink water. And, she's like, I know I don't drink enough water. And that it's like actually one of my issues too. But if you can take that and commit to that and build that habit, just drinking your water, pick one habit you've already started and establish that and go deeper. And then we focus on revisiting that and making sure each week that we're hitting those water goals, for instance. Then you can start stacking habits on top of that instead of jumping in and going, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and I'll be healthy by the end of the month. Start slow with intention. Take it one step at a time. Take that seed, plant it, and nurture that, and then add more ingredients to it. I don't know where I went from ingredients or from seed to ingredients, but I think you get the picture. The magic is in the daily watering, not planting another seed every week. Is we're nurturing and then we're habit stacking on top of it. Choose one area. Whether it's family, health, career, whatever, choose one area to start with that routine. And sometimes when you have a lot of things going on, like, I'll say like my business routines versus my personal routines. I'm really in Self-Love Club. We talk a lot about personal routines. And then in our business and the growth entrepreneur, we talk about business in that aspect as well. So all of those, again, everything is like where personal growth meets business. Everything is related. And it's just really interesting because the more business owners I work with on this information, it ripples out to everything else in your life. It really, really does. So I want you to ask yourself, what is one simple routine I can commit to nurturing this fall? Plant that seed and let me know what that seed is. I'm so glad that you're here with me tonight. I want you to remember to trust your season. Whatever season that you're in, it doesn't matter. Trust where you are and then start moving forward. Balance your softness and your strength because you need both of those in order to move forward and nurture what you have planted. I'm going to leave you with a journal prompt. One final, I love journaling if you can't tell. What season am I in and how can I meet it with compassion? Think about that. Send me your answer if you'd love to. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this episode, please, if you're watching this, if you found the reel on social media, please tag me, My Inner Struggle, or follow my new page on Instagram, Laura Ferry Growth Co. Check out my Facebook page, My Inner Struggle, for all upcoming events. We'll be at Sussex County Day. I have some vision board classes coming up and the empowerment party coming up October 3rd from 7 to 9 p.m. at Cedar and Sage in Lafayette. You must purchase a ticket, look at the event on Facebook and sign up. There aren't that many left and seats are limited for sure. If you are craving more support in your season, come sit with us in the Self-Love Club. You can find all of that information out on lauraferry.com. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you know anyone that can benefit from this, please share it with a friend. As always, I am thinking of you and sending you love, and I will see you soon.